All right, so we are working on the next step, which is the eye. We're going to begin by adding in our solid black, and you can see the level that we're looking for in this image. We also are going to fold our paper of our reference photo so that it can be as close to our actual eye drawing as we can possibly get it. Looking at this image, you can see that we start with just a light outline, and it gets much thicker as it works its way towards the eyelashes. So I always start with like that bottom line, and then I'll go in and slowly start to thicken it. So you can see that now there's like almost like a really extended triangle, and I'm just gonna go through and fill in that solid triangle, and I'm gonna fill it in all the way up to like where it starts to curve. Then I'm going to add in the black of the pupil, which is that black spot inside of the colored part of your eye. And then the colored part of your eye is called the iris. We're gonna add a dark outline on the outside edge of that circle, and that's gonna go all the way around. Just make sure that you don't have this curve go outside the tear duct, because that's when it starts to look kind of weird. So we have all of these black parts in the eye, but not only are we adding it there, we are also adding directional hairlines in our eyebrow. Now, if you didn't show yourself like the direction of the hair in the eyebrow, you can go back, put this back down, and then do a transfer of the direction that those hairs should be going in, and then you'll just fill in the rest with your blending stump. So we've got our start. Now you can see the next step is to come in with our blending stump. I'm going to clean this off, and then I'm going to place this image just again as close as I can get it. I'm going to add in one little line that I didn't show you just now, which is this back eyelid line. I don't know that it needs to be like solid black. It's just going to be kind of a lighter color back there, but I am going to begin by just kind of softening that line, and I'm going to use my blending stump point to add in this little like fake halfy line right there. Now I'm going to fill this top section above that space with this medium tone, and it is a pretty decent medium tone, but as it gets closer to this highlight, it gets lighter and lighter. I'm also going to fill in this side portion underneath that highlight, so pretty much just surrounding that highlight, it is a darker gray, but we want to leave the tone of the paper between our highlight and our values so that we don't get that weird blue color that happens occasionally. Now I'm going to bring in just a little bit of gray on the side of my eyelid, and now this is a weird part. This is again going back to the white of the eye not being white. So we're going to come along this line, and I'm just fading it. I'm going to clean my blending stump off so I don't go too dark, and I'm just going to allow some of that shadow to drop down underneath. So I'm just like letting that be a little bit softer. I'm going to come in with my charcoal pencil again, and following along with my finger, I'm looking at this tear duct thing. You know, what is that? Is that just tear duct? Is that what that's called? I outlined it, and then I'm going to give myself a bright white highlight right in the middle of it, and then one more just like subtly off down underneath. Then I'm going to come in with my blending stump again and blow away the dust. We're going to add in the value on the outside of the eye. So we want the dark outside edge to be the darkest, and then it should just take some of this medium tone, and our lightest spot is going to be the underneath part, like right underneath the pupil. So we're gonna try to make like a light U shape that stays under here. So we fill it in at the top, but underneath we want to try to make like a light colored U shape essentially. So I'm just like outlining this very lightly colored U. Do you see that? Now we're going to fill in the value for underneath our eyelashes, and we just want to bring that all the way down up until where it starts to fade into that white that we added. And then we're going to fill the rest of that shadow space with this solid black. So we've got a nice start here. Now we're going to wrap this around, and we're just adding in this section of value that goes underneath the eye, and I'm following along with my finger, looking back and forth. Remember that we want to leave this little highlight right here, so I'm gonna make sure I don't fill in that space. And then we've got some of this value just coming right up to the edge, and I'm gonna take my white and create just a little bit of this like tear line, right where that is like underneath the eye. So I'm bringing some of that in and just adding a little bit more of that white. Now, when we reach this point, we are gonna bring in the rest of our black. We're just kind of like filling in the rest of the values. And then the very last step, the last thing that you're going to do with this eye specifically is come in with either a sharpened black colored pencil or a black charcoal pencil that's very, very sharpened, but you want it to have like a nice sharp point. And we are going to follow along with like the direction of the eyelashes. So we're just like adding just a couple little like faint lines. And what I'm scared of is the SpongeBob eyelashes where it's like dink, dink, dink. And then that's like all you get. So I want to remind you that first of all, these directions are correct. So we want to have like a straight line. So you can see like right here above the iris is a straight up and down eyelash. And then over here at the edge of the eye, it's curving out. So we've kind of got like these three, and then we're just gonna bridge the gap with like some very skinny little lines coming in here to kind of fill out that space. And then at the end, we wanna have quite a few because this is where they're all sort of collecting. So there's the eyelashes. For the eyebrow, we are just taking our blending stump and kind of going in the same direction as those lines that we added. And we want to try to leave some of those lines visible and present. So I'm just like not filling it completely and going only in the direction of those lines. And then I also come in with the white and add in a few lines going that same direction to really make it look like there are some spaces between those hairs, so that it's not just like solid dark. Now, after you are done with the eye, we are going to continue on shading the face. So you'll turn the page and you can see that our next section is filling in the area underneath her neck. So we're going to start by adding our solid black, and we line this whole space so it's like making this little triangle, and then it's going to be very dark on the side, like underneath her jaw and along the edge of her neck. And then it's just like slowly getting lighter. It's like a little value scale down here at the bottom. So we're just getting lighter and lighter. And then we'll bring in your blending stump and start on that light end. And I like to use the side when I'm working on a space like this so I don't end up with little lines. And I'm blending the lightest areas first and then working into the dark areas. And once you've done that, you do typically need to clean your blending stump once more, and then you'll just repeat that process until it is perfectly smooth through this space. Now, while you're doing this, you're going to have a lot of really awesome charcoal on your blending stump, which is an excellent time to start coming in for these face values. So we're going to start bringing in our darker medium tone, and I want you to notice that on this face, there is like a little indent where it like reaches out from the cheekbone and connects almost to this like edge of the mouth, and then it comes down like through here and connects again. So there's like these circles that we're kind of leaving right through here. So we're gonna leave some of these like little patches essentially, and that's going to help shape that face a little bit better. Now we're going to come in again with our black. We haven't actually added any black for the face yet, so we're just adding in along the edge of our jaw, and we're gonna use that to continue spreading this darker value. So we want to get those edges to be nice and crisp, and then we want to bring this value up along the cheekbone. And remember that we have to leave some of the gray paper between the white and our black value that we're adding right now. So we're just coming in along this space and leaving this little highlight and this little edging right through here. So we're just blending out that value, and then we're going through and perfecting. So we've got a little bit of that value that comes out from the eye that then drops down along the side, and we're just like rounding out and perfecting all of these values in the face. So you'll just go through, we can pull out like the value under the nose to blend it a little better. We can fade out the chin. We've still got this little bit of value underneath the chin to come in and add. And we're just using the side of our blending stump to make it as soft as we can to help it look more realistic. All right? Okay, thank you guys.